right now at 7.
Down by 1. It comes down to this field goal. Oh, wide right. Wide right. The 49ers just lost at the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl mayhem in Miami. We're there live. Plus, what we learned today about the game's 2 biggest stars.
Both quarterbacks are very picky.
Jimmy's picky?
Actually, Jimmy's more picky than Mr. Mahomes, yes.
I can't process it. Can't believe it.
And the emotional tributes underway tonight at Kobe Bryant's home away from home.
This has really hurt us all hard.
Plus the flight from the epicenter of the coronavirus in China that is headed to California right now.
We are actively preparing for the possibility of confirmed cases.
We are also monitoring the State Department flight out of Wuhan.
Also, what will happen to more than 2,000 tenants if one of the Bay Area's biggest landlords sells more than 70 of its properties?
It is contrary to their claim that they care about the tenants in their buildings. This was also a big, fat lie.
And it's countdown to kickoff right now on the KPIX-5 News at 7. Streaming on CBS and Bay Area. Miami already loaded up with fans ahead of Super Bowl Sunday. Good evening. I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. Sports director Dennis O'Donnell is live with what the players just had to say about the atmosphere there. Dennis?
Yeah, Liz, Kenny, I know you love NFL Media Day, right? It's the event that sort of kicks off Super Bowl week. Chiefs, 49ers, banner with the media, give and take, silly questions, tough questions. But how about Jimmy Garoppolo? Goes from Eastern Illinois University to becoming a face of the 49er franchise.
I was that kid at the youth football. Didn't get recruited out of high school. Went to 1AA Eastern Illinois. That's why I still carry the backpack with me. It's kind of a reminder to you every day. Just doesn't matter where you're at, where you start. Just if you keep working hard and putting the time, good things will happen.
Yeah, Jimmy forgot one other quality needed to succeed in the NFL. It's called talent. And believe me, I'm not quitting my day job after what happened to me at the NFL experience.
Oh boy, they're racing.
You're gonna beat me.
They're racing the news.
You're gonna beat me. Super Bowl experience can be a reality check to the ego. It's also the closest some get to the real McCoy.
I've been, this year I went to San Francisco to see the Monday Night Football against Cleveland.
Really?
And yeah, I'm a big fan.
Wilson set up a temporary football factory. 54 footballs will go to each team.
Both quarterbacks are very picky. So
Jimmy's picky?
Actually, Jimmy's more picky than Mr. Mahomes, yes.
Of course, a new football doesn't mean you can actually throw it. That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. Aspiring NFL superstars can get in a game of flag football, and who knows, perhaps one day they can earn one of these. All 5 49er championship rings are on display. I'm not an actual NFL player, but I can play one on TV. The Super Bowl experience has been around for years, but when your team is in it, it means you're in the game, even if you can't play in it. Down by 1, it comes down to this field goal. Oh, wide right. Wide right. The 49ers just lost in the Super Bowl. Now, unfortunately, Robbie Gould is a much more accurate kicker than Dennis O'Donnell. That's in the 49ers side. But Ken, Elizabeth, that kid who beat me in the 40-yard dash, I asked him for a rematch. He said, no rematch. And he cheated.
He beat you fair and square, and you missed that field goal by 5 feet right. No go.
Wide right.
Yes. All right, Dennis, we'll be checking in with you throughout the week. Have a good time. We'll talk to you during this Super Bowl week. KPIX-5's Michelle Griego. And Dennis and Vern are in Miami, bringing you live team coverage leading up to the 49ers big game. Our countdown to kickoff continues all week long right here on KPIX-5, streaming 24/7 on CBS Bay Area and on KPIX.com/Super Bowl.
Tonight, fans are still in disbelief as they mourn the loss of basketball legend Kobe Bryant. Hundreds of people crowded Staples Center today. Fans dropped off flowers, notes, and balloons. This is a live look at people paying their respects. Some people say losing Bryant felt like losing a member of their own family.
When was the last time you felt this way?
Probably when my father passed away, man.
Really?
Yeah.
You got the same feeling of remorse, huh?
Same feeling of remorse. I mean, he's an LA hero, man.
This has really hurt us all hard. You know, this has really hit hard.
I can't talk.
I just can't talk. He's like my real life superhero, and superheroes aren't supposed to pass.
We're also learning more about the final moments leading up to the helicopter crash that killed Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 others. Flight track records show the pilot was circling for about 12 minutes before the helicopter slammed into a hill just outside of Los Angeles. The NTSB says the pilot's last transmission to air traffic control said he was climbing to avoid cloud layer.
We're not just focusing on weather here, though. We take a broad look at everything around an investigation, around an accident. We look at man, machine, and the environment.
Stay with us for continuing coverage and the latest on the investigation on air and online on KPIX.com.
Well, back here at home, bullets flying on Interstate 580. Tonight, CHP officers are searching for the suspects who shot a man and just missed 3 other people in Oakland.
The investigators believe, based on the current evidence that they're working with, that this was a targeted incident. We had community members that were helping the gunshot victim, so we're thankful to those community members. They may very well save this gentleman's life.
Yeah, this happened just before 10 this morning. A passenger in a white Infiniti was struck by gunfire and critically wounded. A woman who was driving and 2 young girls in that same car were unharmed. Officers say that the suspects were wearing masks and driving in a white SUV hatchback. If you have any information, contact the CHP tip line.
Tonight, tensions escalating between San Francisco's police union and the new district attorney over a recent police shooting. It comes after DA Chesa Boudin halted charges against 24-year-old Jamaica Hampton while the investigation plays out. Hampton was shot by police after he allegedly attacked them with a broken bottle in the Mission District back in December. The Police Officers Association now wants federal intervention in the case, calling Boudin's choice to withdraw charges, quote, dangerous. The DA's office responded saying in part, quote, no conclusions about prosecutorial viability of Hampton's case should be drawn here. It's absolutely imperative we have internal clarity on charges we file against any individual.
And this just in, China is reporting another big spike in the coronavirus cases that it knows about. The count now more than 4,500 people, 106 deaths. 5 cases have been confirmed here in the U.S. 2 of those are in California. KPIX-5's Andrea Borba live at SFO with the steps being taken here to make sure that number doesn't go any higher. Andrea?
Well, Ken, for about a week and a half, there were thrice a week flights coming here to SFO directly from Wuhan, China, with about 150 passengers apiece. Because of that influx of people, the city has opened the Emergency Operations Center to make sure doctors have a place to call if they have questions in case any cases pop up. Even with no confirmed cases of novel coronavirus in San Francisco, authorities aren't taking any chances. They've opened an emergency operations center and staffed a 24-hour line for doctors.
There are no incoming flights that we have been made aware of. And this is, of course, an ongoing situation. And if anything changes, we are prepared to take the necessary steps to address it. And we will make sure that we notify the public every step of the way.
There have been no direct flights from Wuhan to SFO since Thursday. And an anticipated evacuation flight of U.S. diplomats from Wuhan will also not touch down here.
We are also monitoring the State Department flight out of Wuhan, and the latest information we have is that flight will arrive to the U.S. via Anchorage, and then it will make its way to Ontario, California.
With a handful of confirmed coronavirus cases in the U.S., doctors say that doesn't mean it's as prevalent as the common cold.
At this time, residents of the Bay Area are at low risk of becoming infected with this new novel coronavirus. unless they have been recently to Wuhan, China, or have come into contact with somebody who's a confirmed case who traveled to that area.
As for the symptoms, the Department of Public Health is urging flu shots, so similar symptoms won't be mistaken by anyone for coronavirus. And if your nose is running, it is likely not coronavirus.
But what we understand is that it does tend to be a lower respiratory infection, so shortness of breath, the symptoms that you might associate with pneumonia primarily.
Now, there are no direct flights from Wuhan to SFO right now or Wuhan to anywhere in the U.S. They have cut down on air travel out of that airport because of the coronavirus right now. Officials here at SFO say there remains a CDC contingent on site in case any travelers had a connecting flight at some point through Wuhan. Ken, Elizabeth?
All right, at SFO Live, Andrea Borba. Thank you, Andrea.
Up next, a shocking move by one of San Francisco's biggest landlords. The city officials trying to stop the sale of more than 70 properties and the tenants caught in the crossfire.
With the sale of the building, here we go again. I'm just being traded like a commodity.
And I think you're going to see a lot more of these kinds of projects.
And the landmark agreement that will turn an old state building into affordable housing for some Bay Area college students.
And how much will it cost to make California a no-kill state for adoptable pets? Governor Newsom's big new idea.
And we are focused on more rain coming into the Bay Area tonight through tomorrow, and then changes ahead. There's also fog out there as we look live toward the port of Oakland. It's all coming up after a break.
San Francisco supervisors trying to stop the city's largest corporate landlord from selling off 76 buildings. And they house more than 200 tenants. And we've reported on the company Veritas extensively in our Project Home series. Supervisor Sandra Lee says that the decision to sell the buildings goes against the promise that Veritas made to her that it would be a long-term investor in San Francisco. Many of the tenants living in those properties have rent control and worry that another landlord will buy their building and push them out.
With the sale of the building, here we go again. I'm just being traded like a commodity, and the health and safety.
It is contrary to their claim that they care about the tenants in their buildings. This was also a big, fat lie.
Veritas says that it refuses to work with city supervisors on this issue, but says that it is open to working with the mayor's Office of Housing to consider breaking up the 76 building portfolio. And we'll continue to follow this story in our series Project Home, and you can see our original reports at CBS.com.
And folks who live in San Francisco today, a little misty and a little rainy. Couldn't quite tell what it was.
Play Misty for me, the old
Clint Eastwood.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
Jessica Walters.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good knowledge.
As we've got this.
Ken remembers that.
I'm old.
Well, that's true.
Let's have a look outside and leave this unhappy topic. As we've got fog and low clouds outside the building. In fact, occasionally, Salesforce Towers found its top buried in a layer of low clouds, and that's why we're not using the camera up there right now. Instead, we're looking at it from Treasure Island. And the highs today, 63 degrees in Santa Rosa. Concord was up to 62. Some of these numbers will be in the low 70s by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. That'll be the first time in a couple of months, actually, that we've seen any highs in the 70s. That's the end of the week. In the meantime, we've got a weak cold front that is pressing south. Sunrise tomorrow morning, although it won't be a very sunny sunrise because that low pressure will be sending high clouds into the Bay Area. And this is the latest in a succession of weak cold fronts that have worked their way into the Bay and have dropped not much. And this will probably be the last in that succession because after tonight and tomorrow morning and afternoon, it's our last shot at rain for about a week at least. Futurecast shows that this, you can see how it's just dying as it heads south. This Futurecast shows that middle of the day, it's in the middle of the Bay, and it's not going to be dropping much south of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's not going to be dropping much north of the Golden Gate Bridge either, about 0.05 of an inch up in Santa Rosa, and nothing by the time it gets down to San Jose. And then there's Wednesday. Wednesday, we've got sunshine. So the rain chances look good for San Francisco. Tuesday, midday-ish, but by the time it gets to San Jose, those chances drop to 1 in 5. So, and even if it does rain in San Jose, 1/100 of an inch.
So more clouds tonight, fog and coastal drizzle, a few late morning and early afternoon showers on Tuesday north of the Golden Gate, better chance, then mainly dry and warmer. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow will be close to seasonal averages with San Francisco at 58, Concord 61, and again 100th, 200ths of an inch in Concord. That would do it, even if you get that much. That would be it. Down in the South Bay, numbers will be in the low 60s, overcast skies, an outside chance of a shower or two in the early afternoon. Ditto for the East Bay, just not much. It's gone by the time it gets out of the Tri-Valley area. But north of the Golden Gate, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. to noon, few showers. And 58 degrees at San Rafael, 60 in Petaluma. Up at Ukiah, though, a downburst may produce about 0.08 of an inch of rain. That's what's in the forecast for Ukiah. So few showers north of the Golden Gate. After Wednesday, we dry it out, warm it up through Friday and Saturday when numbers reach the low 70s. Liz?
All right, Brian, thank you. Well, here's what you missed if you're just getting home right now. President Trump's legal team wrapped up their second day of opening arguments in the impeachment trial. Much of the attention today focusing on a new revelation from one of the president's former top advisors. A report from the New York Times claims that former National Security Advisor John Bolton admitted in his upcoming book the president told him to freeze security aid from Ukraine to Ukraine until officials helped with investigations into Democrats and Joe Biden. Now Democrats are calling for Bolton to testify in the Senate trial.
The revelations in the New York Times about the Bolton book strengthen the case for witnesses, for documents, even more.
It's relevant, and therefore I'd like to hear it.
And soon activists help make a major change at San Jose State. The university and the state of California have reached an agreement that will turn an old state building near SJSU's campus into affordable housing for students, staff, and faculty.
All you need is just a group of passionate students who are willing to do what they can and speak out and be loud for a good cause.
And I think you're going to see a lot more of these kinds of projects.
Meanwhile, the 49ers are one of several NFL teams that had their Twitter accounts hacked. The Niners' profile picture and bio were erased. The hackers reportedly got into 15 other NFL accounts. Some had a message from a group called Our Mine with a warning to update security. Ken?
Thanks, Elizabeth. Coming up next, protecting pets from being euthanized. Is it really possible for California to become a no-kill state for pets? What the governor is proposing, and a steep price tag.
People shouldn't dump garbage in a nice view and place like that.
And the growing frustration over illegal dumping in one Bay Area community in particular, and the plan to catch the culprits.
A fight in West Marin tonight against illegal dumping.
Yeah, a growing number of people are using the back roads to get rid of their trash illegally. State grants are available to help clean up with some of this, but when it falls onto private property, the landowners usually get stuck with the bill. And district officials are now putting up no dumping signs and plan to install cameras that try to catch future offenders.
If I see him, I tell him, get out of here, and I take his plate number and tell him, if again I see any garbage, I just tell you, report you to the sheriff.
In a move to make California a no-kill state, Governor Newsom said he would like to end euthanasia of adoptable pets in shelters across the state. And now his proposed budget includes money to begin that process. Back in 1999, California passed a law requiring healthy or treatable animals be adopted instead of killed, but that money was never spent to actually make it happen.
And that's where the challenge has been, because that was mandated by law, but the funding has never been there to support shelters to be able to make that possible.
Now the governor has proposed $50 million over 5 years to support shelters.
Coming up next, ready to book that perfect trip? Why tomorrow is the day to start planning. Well, tomorrow may be the perfect day to book your next getaway. That's because tomorrow is National Plan a Vacation Day. Of course, a group known as Project Time Off is behind it. They say going on vacation helps improve relationships, health, and even your work.
I like it. Thanks for
Good
watching.
enough for me.
10 at
I'm
7.
out of here. Going on vacation. No, kidding.
See you at 11 and on CBS Bay Area.